Do you have a guitar in your arsenal that is not that full or even a little brittle sounding? Or alternatively, you're just getting into guitar and you're finding your fingertips are getting extremely sore, which is something we all went through, by the way. I'm going to show you something today that I came across in the workshop here purely by chance, but it can actually help a lot with both these things. I really wanted to share this information because it could be an absolute game changer for so many people out there, because the answer could be as simple as a string change, but with these kind of unique strings. Now, this video isn't sponsored at all. This is something I genuinely found in the workshop here through my job repairing and modifying musicians' equipment. So what are these strings? Well, they've actually been around since the late 70s, early 80s. Now, I'm sure you've heard of flat wound strings before. They were invented back in the late 1800s, but I'm betting you have never heard or even played on a set of acoustic bronze flat wound strings before. So what makes these different from normal flat wound strings is that they are wound in bronze instead of steel. So they're designed specifically for acoustic guitar. So have a quick listen to this. This isn't an expensive guitar. It's one we've got for sale down in the workshop. It's a used guitar. It's got standard 80/20 bronze round wound strings on it. So I hope that came through really clearly. Now, there wasn't a heck of a lot wrong with that first sound, but that guitar was a little bit top heavy for me, and this just evens it out so much more, these strings. Such a rich sounding string. Quite often I'll get people coming to the workshop wanting to put nylon strings on their steel string guitar just to help with that finger pain. But the problem is, with a steel string guitar, you've got to then cut the nut and make a few other modifications to get those strings to work. And it's just not really economical. I generally put people off doing it. The thing is, these are the answer, because I know those two bottom metal strings are responsible for really digging into your fingertips, but the wound ones are actually responsible for that burning sensation. You get a lot of that burning from sliding on them. They're kind of slowly soaring through your fingertips. Well, you don't have that. It's just so much softer and so much nicer. It's really funny because when we got these strings in, actually Galli sent us a set just to have a look at and to try out. And this woman came in one day and she had a Taylor, quite a decent sounding Taylor, but she said it sounded a bit trebly. Even though she's got a few nice guitars, she is only really learning. She said her fingertips were getting really, really sore. And the guitar was set up really well. It had a nice action. It wasn't hard to play or anything like that. And I suggested, well, why don't you try these acoustic flat wounds? It's not really a string I'd ever thought I'd suggest for someone's guitar. We put them on and it was just such a massive difference straight away. She's like, wow, this is just so much nicer on my fingers. I can play a little longer now before they get too sore, because you know, you're still going to get sore fingers when you're starting out. The whole tonality changed of that guitar. That Taylor just sounded awesome with those flat wounds on. So I was such a fan after that, and now we stock them in the workshop. I think we're the only place in New Zealand at the moment that does stock acoustic flat wounds. Like, even when I was back working for Music Works up in Auckland, I'd never seen a set of acoustic flat wound strings. Even though we stocked regular flat wounds, acoustic ones were just not something that I'd ever seen before until kind of recently. One of the problems for me with a lot of strings is that they always are labeled with a particular musical style on the outside of the pack. So flat wounds always have jazz flat wounds, and I think that really kind of makes people think, well, I don't play jazz, so I can't put those on my guitar. Even me, I was thinking, oh, these are acoustic flat wound strings. I mean, I didn't really see a need for them, or who would even want to put them on the guitar? Some jazz guy that wants to play sort of a whole bunch of jazz stuff. Okay, fake jazz there. I think pigeonholing strings into a particular genre of music is actually a really bad idea. Why don't you want to play doom metal with your jazz flat wounds or your flat wound strings? You know, you can play blues with flat wound strings. The strings don't dictate what sort of music style you play. You can play whatever you want with whatever strings. I would urge you, if you've got guitars that do have a bit of a brighter voice, or if you are struggling with finger pain, this is one of the best solutions I have found. But they feel great, and this guitar sounds, to me, it sounds a whole lot better. I hope it's translating onto YouTube as well. I bet there are a lot of manufacturers out there that do make acoustic flat wound strings. Now, I obviously love Galli Strings. That's what we stock in the workshop. They've been making strings in Italy for over 130 years, so they're pretty good at making strings. Now, I would love to know if this does work for you, so please let me know in the comments. If you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button, and we'll catch you in the next video.